Brazil! Incredible result, winning 2-1 against Japan. What a dramatic finish that we just saw, and what to me was a 10 out of 10 match. Incredible, entertaining football as Japan goes up 1-0 in this game, but then the Brazilians come storming back in a very good second half performance. Casemiro gets the first goal, and then finally, the Arsenal man, Gabriel Martinelli, scoring the game-winning goal in the last minute of this match for Brazil. That's now 2 games in the round of 32. Both games where we get these high-intensity type of matches and atmospheres and are decided in stoppage time. Amazing result as Brazil moves on to the round of 16, ultimately knocking out Japan.
2 buzzer beaters, one with Canada yesterday, Eustáquio, and today is Gabriel Martinelli at the death. What a goal, though. Bruno Guimaraes gets the ball at the top of the box, shimmies a little bit, shifts the ball to his left side, shapes to shoot for a half second, actually fakes out the defense. If you notice, the Japanese defender peels away from Martinelli to try and block the incoming shot. But then Guimaraes makes one of the classiest passes so far at this World Cup and finds a wide open Martinelli in the box. He finds that right space, right angle, and he buries it. What a moment for Martinelli. Probably his biggest moment in a Brazilian national team jersey. Guimaraes continuing to cook in the midfield at this tournament. Brazil, in dramatic fashion, go through to the round of 16, heartbreakingly knocking out the Japanese.
It is heartbreaking, man. The images of the Japanese fans just in turmoil as they lose this game. There was a moment of excitement. Japan was up 1-0 in this game. And I want to talk about that moment because once Japan scored that goal, you know, that concern, that fear for Brazil was simmering within me. I can't lie. With the past performances we've seen in the World Cup, it's just, this is what happens. They end up getting Croatia. The game goes into extra time. They lose in penalties, or they just get beat like what we saw happen against Belgium in 2018. My worries, my concerns started to rise. But that second half performance, I think, ultimately showed what we analyzed, what we projected for this game. The stars started stepping up. Gabriel, amazing pass to Casemiro, who heads it home into the back of the net. But then just that Brazilian pressure, that press from Japan in the first half was so good. It was holding Brazil back, but it let loose in the second half. Those players got tired, and I think the profiles of this Japanese team ultimately ended up limiting their offensive success in that second half specifically. They really couldn't do anything off the counter. No real opportunities generated. So it just lured Brazil into adding more pressure, swinging more balls in, getting Endrick involved, getting Vinny involved, getting Matheus Cunha at the time involved. And then we saw like insane moments, like goal line clearances. Suzuki was putting on a masterclass. Who was it? It was Tomiyasu with an insane goal line clearance, header, funny, goofy clearance, but it was ridiculous. Finally, once Casemiro broke the net, it was the moment that I thought Brazil was going to turn this result around. Very resilient effort for Ancelotti's side. I think at the end of the day, we did see our projection come to fruition. Brazil's star stepped up, and Japan's offensive limitations ultimately showed.
Yeah, we saw Brazil come alive right in front of our eyes in that second half. It was needed. Down 1-0. The pace was slow in the first half, even though you had a lot of the ball. Japan's defense was showing up. But then you start seeing Vinicius get on the ball. You see that passion that we haven't seen outside of this World Cup with the Brazil team. Vinicius is here. He showed us that in the group stage. He showed us that in this second half, man. That moment when he dropped his defender off an incoming ball and then he just goes, flies down that flank, able to juke out his defender in the box and then nearly puts it in. It's actually a great save from Suzuki. That's prime Vinicius. He's at this World Cup. I think that's what makes Brazil very dangerous, because one way or another, he's either going to tire out the defenders or he's just going to score a banger. You just can't stop Vinicius in this form. And then other players stepping up, as we noted. That pass from Gabriel is ridiculous. What a ball. I really thought it was Guimaraes with that cross.
Yeah, me too.
It was just a perfect precision. And Casemiro heading it home. Brazil had the perfect second half that they needed. And the thing is, Japan still really showed up defensively, even though they took on so much pressure. They only conceded that one goal in those 45 minutes in the second half. It took just a ridiculous moment of composure from Guimaraes and Martinelli to finally break the Japanese a second time. So this shows how good Japan really is, I think, at the end of the day. And it sucks that Japan's tournament's over. Like, they almost deserve to play one more game.
I agree.
And the thing is, it would have been the same if Brazil had lost this game. Like, it's tragic that one of these two teams is going out so early, ends up being Japan, who are still seeking their first knockout stage at a World Cup, stage win at a World Cup.
Right.
They can't get it, man.
I'm trying to learn how to approach my takeaways with a round of 32 knockout stage, right? Because what I'm supposed to think, Japan's not a top 32 team in the world now?
Right.
I can't think that. I just can't. I mentioned it with the Netherlands-Morocco matchup. It applies here. It's a tragedy that either one of these teams could have gone out at this point in the tournament. I'm not going to see it as a sign that Japan isn't an elite side. I think they showed that today. A very good effort against this Brazilian team. But I will say, I still feel like there's a gap, man. There's still a gap between what we saw them perform like in the second half versus Brazil. And I think a lot of people believe that gap had been closed for what is ultimately Asia's best side right now. Japan had a great chance. They had a great chance. This could have gone to extra time, and maybe they push the penalties and Japan wins it and they overcome that bump, that narrative. But I mean, on the pitch, I saw a Brazilian team really go for it, really put that pressure on, whereas Japan wasn't necessarily doing that. And I think that tells me that there's still more work to be done for Japan to be able to win their first knockout stage game ever if they're matched up against a team of Brazil's stature. Still, I think there's more work to be done, while also acknowledging that Japan has made massive strides. To be able to go up on Brazil 1-0 is crazy for them, just not enough to really get the result at the end of the day.
Right. And I think if you're a newcomer watching Japan, they're a great team because we saw the defense and we see why that they have the talent to actually go up against Brazil. If you've been watching Japan, though, for the last 10, 12 years, this has been their limit every single time. They do lack true firepower up top. They didn't generate any offense in this game. And I know that's crazy to say because my heart's saying Japan played great today, and they did. They did. But there was no offense with Japan in this match. Brazil's defense was simply way too strong. Japan didn't have any big chances. The goal that they scored was just ridiculous hit. It was a beautiful goal from Sano. But that was it. There's nothing else for Japan. Brazil's defense is actually, I would say, one of the best in the tournament.
Dude, yeah.
And I think that's going to make Brazil very difficult to beat in the latter stages of this tournament. But for Japan, yeah, I think this is their limit. You said it perfectly. There is a gap between Japan and the big teams in the world.
What'd you make of Brazil's... let's kind of go through these performances just to highlight. The backline was incredible. You're right. Marquinhos, Gabriel.
So good.
Just amazing. The fullbacks I thought were really solid. Midfield, I mean, stepped up today. Guimarães and Casemiro were so involved, bro.
Exactly.
They were so involved.
I've been saying all group stage long, I know they're being criticized, but this should be the final proof that Guimarães and Casemiro make up the two best center midfield pairs at the World Cup, bro.
Paquetá goes off injured, which is really interesting. He could barely move as he was limping off the pitch. So in comes Endrick in the second half. This is an interesting situation, bro. It's another injury for Brazil, man.
Jeez.
And it's in a very important position. You have options like he could have gone with Igor Thiago up top. He could have gone with Neymar, for example. But Ancelotti goes with Endrick. We see Ryan have a good game, in my opinion. I thought he was really solid. Vinicius was cooking. Matheus Cunha gets subbed off. What I mean, going forward, is Endrick the player to put up top? Is Neymar going to start next game? Is Paquetá going to... Is Rafinha coming back? What the hell is the situation going forward for Brazil as they're set to face off against either Ivory Coast or Norway?
As you either go Endrick just because he's more of a mobile forward, or you go with somebody like a Luis Enrique who has played the position before in World Cup qualification. I'd say both players are, slightly above average when it comes to Brazil standards. I don't think there's really a right or wrong decision, whoever Ancelotti goes with. It's just crazy because if Neymar really was truly match fit, he should be playing. But right. We didn't even see him in this game, and Brazil needed a goal. So I really do wonder what Neymar's positioning is going to be with Brazil going forward. We may not really see him.
We didn't see him in a do-or-die situation today.
Yeah.
But I think this is Brazil's formula now is trust our defense. We have a top 5 defense at the World Cup. Trust it.
Yep. Trust
our center defensive mid pairing, Casemiro, Bruno Guimarães. They're going to be phenomenal. And then I think Ancelotti at the end of the day is just thinking, if I have Vinny in this form, then we're solid.
Yeah.
And then the rest can just play their football and hopefully step up like how we saw Martinelli, for example, step up today. I think as long as you have Vinny in this form, you're in any match with that center defensive midfield pairing and that defense. And that's a pretty strong formula for Brazil.
It is, because you look at the starting striker today, Cunha. He actually had a poor game today, I would say. He just couldn't connect with any of his teammates, and he himself couldn't create any space, and that's credit to the Japanese defense. And so Ancelotti makes a change, in comes Martinelli, and he ends up being the guy who changes this match. That's the depth that Brazil have here in this squad. It's going to make them very difficult to beat. I like this. This is a very good formula that Ancelotti has figured out seemingly right here at this World Cup.
I can't believe it, but hey, he's known for his knockout tournament performances, and we saw that happen today, man. Down 1-0, flip the result coming into the second half. Brazil wins 2-1. Brazilians, let me know how you feel, your analysis of the game. And Japanese fans, please share your feelings. Tell me how you feel, because this was a heartbreaking loss with a last-minute goal conceded.